Welcome. Today we're going to take a look at how I research an article, how I use DEVONthink, and actually OmniOutliner to start with resource articles, and then a little bit I'll take a look at Obsidian as well, and just give you an overview of what I would do there, because I'm going to compile the research right now into DEVONthink. Starting with OmniOutliner as a basis for this, and then I'll tell you like how I would use Obsidian, although we're not going to spend hours with me researching stuff for you today. Before we get into that, two ways to support the channel. Number one is to go to patreon.com/CurtisMcHale, support the channel. Number two is to go to curtismchale.ca/Skillshare, where you can take my course on TickTick and watch my upcoming courses on time blocking, which should be getting recorded this week, and watch my upcoming course on Things 3, which we're getting pretty close to the script being done on. Buckle up. So the goal of this article is, let me save it first. I'm going to save it as using Composer with WordPress. And yeah, I'll just drop it into iCloud documents for now. Actually, let's drop into OmniOutliner documents. So the truth is I'd actually do a lot of this on my iPad, but I want to show you DEVONthink and Obsidian doesn't work on my iPad. So what we're going to do is using Composer with WordPress. I have a few questions. The first thing I want to ask is, what is Composer? My next question is going to be what? We'll probably want to do using Composer with plugins, using Composer with themes, and then I probably want to look at using Composer with, I'm going to say WP content. So that is the folder in WordPress that has your themes and your plugins and your uploads, if you're not familiar. So, or not even just WP content, but using it with like everything, like when you have a whole project and you have your whole site under version control, how do you use Composer there? And I think that there is even themes, right? I think Roots is a Composer theme, I think. Or I at least want to find something like that. I don't use this very often. In fact, never. You can see trial expires in 14 days. Notes. How do I do notes here? OmniOutliner is cool. How do I add a note to something? I don't even know. How's that for you? I do not know how to add a note. Maybe that right there. Note, there you go. Or at least look at some themes that use Composer. And then this as well are ways to install WP as a Composer component. So I think that there's a lot to research in here, really. And what I want to start with is just compiling the research probably for each question, right? So I'm going to start what is Composer? You can see I've already searched here, getting started with Composer. So let's start. The next thing I'm going to do, this is for a client Liquid Web, technically Nexus. So I'm going to do new group, and I'm going to say WordPress Composer. I actually think I have WordPress Composer. There you go. So I've got some in here already, and it's in research. So I want to duplicate two. Can I get it to another one? Duplicate to, yep, Liquid Web, WordPress Composer. There you go. Another one from Roots, duplicate to. Oh, where did it go again? WordPress Composer, right? Is there a quick way to do duplicate? Duplicate to. Just duplicate. There's no duplicate to again, unfortunately, right? Move to again is fine, but Laravel, oh, that's not what I want. Laravel Valet for WordPress development, that might even do it. Duplicate to. This is the first step. Unit tests. Nope. Nope. Probably not. Continuous deployment. Probably not. What's this? Oh, I moved that, so that's not going to show up. Okay. I can read the title of this. Developing a plugin. WordPress. Okay. I think that's probably all I'm going to find out of my search for WordPress Composer. But you can see I've got 3 in here. Let's just mark these as unread to start. Unread. Because I haven't read them in context of this. So introduction to Composer, basic Composer usage, getting started with Composer, beginner's guide to Composer, how to install and use Composer. So that's actually probably another question I need to add. What is Composer? I need to install on Mac OS, install on Windows, install on Linux. So I want to at least address those. It may be that I don't provide full information on it. And I should probably even actually go like this. Installation. And then I would move these under again. There you go, installation. That'll be to install on platforms. Cool. So I'm going to say I've got 3 there, which is good. Getting started with Composer. So the goal, the first bit is just to understand how to use Composer better. Well, how to use Composer, PHP Composer. And now I'm probably not going to read all of these. I'm going to save all of them down to start. How to use Composer and Ubuntu. DigitalOcean has great resources. So some of this I just know because I've been looking at coding resources for a long time. So next up, let's just start saving into DEVONthink, right? I'm going to do web archive, and since I know these are all going to go to Composer, I'm just going to select that as my default, and I'm going to tag them as WordPress. No, not configuration, WordPress Composer. There you go. Web archive. And it shows up over there. So we're going to go back through and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to do this for all of these articles. All right. WordPress. Add. Oh, I just shut down DEVONthink. That's not what I wanted. There you go. It's back. WordPress Composer. Done. You can see it there. Perfect. So let's save all of these articles, and we'll just fast forward or not even show you this because you don't need to see them all. All right, so we saved all those articles now. So what the next thing we want to do is probably look at getting started with Composer for WordPress, because it's going to be specific to that. So there we go. We got another one there from Smashing Magazine. I know they're good. I don't know about RT Camp, but we'll start there. PM Mag. Roots.io. See, look, I thought the Roots theme right there. Roots is a Composer theme, I think. There you go. WP Scholar, Code Mentor. And I'm not even going to care, like, do I duplicate resources that I just grabbed? Rarsht.net is good. Rarsht is a developer for WordPress. Getcomposer.org. I think I already got that one, right? The Introduction Composer right there. So I'm going to skip that one. Getting started with Visual Composer. Nope, that's actually a WordPress plugin. I do not want that. I do not care about Visual Composer. In fact, I hate those plugins. Composer dependencies and WordPress plugins. That's not pertinent to the exact question I asked, but it will be pertinent to one of my other ones. Delicious Brains, another really good support or like documentation site. I use their plugin WP Migrate DB Pro all the time for years. It's excellent. Pagely is another good one. Visual Composer I do not want. SlideShare using Composer with WordPress. Probably just slides. So nope. King Composer, webdesign.toots plus, WP Bakery. Nope, not what I want. That's Visual Composer. Yep. Pantheon. What's the Visual Composer plugin? Set up Timber documentation. I think that's it for now. Maybe Themosis. So we'll have to see. That may actually just yield some more information that I need later. So let's start saving these again. We're going to skip this again so that you don't have to watch it. All right, next up, let's go back to some of my questions. Using Composer with WordPress plugins. Composer. Okay. And I'm going to skip some of these because I can see I've already looked at them. Right, roots.io I've already looked at. Time to hack, sure. Maybe Packagist will be interesting. I think that is like just a package manager for WordPress. With what's it name? For WordPress with Composer stuff. Namespaces, WP Tavern. No, probably not. They're more of a news WordPress site, and I just know this, so I'm going to skip it. How to install, right? March 2020, good. Including classes and WordPress plugins, getting Composer, yep. A gentle introduction, already have that one. Let me see. I may have looked at it before in like some pre-work. Oh, I do have a gentle introduction right there, I think, from, right? PM Mag, yep. So I do not need that. Mark is unread. A warning about using Composer from 2015. Yeah, WP Pusher is decent. Setting up. Composer auto-loading. That's a support topic, so we might skip that one. Using Composer with WordPress, that's be like a WordCamp presentation from 2015. Oh, by LoopConf. So LoopConf is a good, are a good conference. No, not the conferences are happening. Ditch require and use Composer, sure. Managing WordPress with Composer. It's a decent site I've read before. Torque is good, even though it's an old one. I wouldn't be surprised if that's by Josh. Let's go back. Yeah, it is by Josh. Look at that. So that would be a good one, even if it's a little older. Anyways, design bombs. Using Composer with WordPress. Yeah, sure. We'll grab that. Using Git with WordPress from Git Tower. Probably not. Yeah. Know the code. I don't know. Manage WordPress plugins losing. So you can see where I'm going with this. I'm going to grab all of these articles and use, right? So the next search term will be something around using Composer with themes. And then I'll be using Composer for like your whole project, for your whole WordPress project, whether that's at the document root or whether that's at WP content. I do either way depending on what I'm doing. And then I'll compile all these resources into here. So next up is I would go over to Obsidian and I would open up and I'd say, do I have Composer in here yet? I do have Composer as a tag. And so this is just a note to myself that if you're running out of memory, because that's what happens with Statomix sometimes, and Composer is a memory hog, evidently. So I probably need to put in there that installation. What is Composer? There you go. So I'll put that in there just as a note maybe. And just grab this link to that document so that I have a reference for it. So one of the reasons I started doing this, and you can see I've got a bunch of, here's all the resources I used for the e-commerce mobile stuff, including the images I sent them for the article, right? Good product pages, all the stuff, plus the images, and I have some done here as well because they're done. I don't need them anymore. And actually both of these are done, so I can drop these into here too. Don't need those. WordPress Composer. So when I've written for GoDaddy, for some of the other places I write for, occasionally I've been getting, I do some stuff and eventually they're like, hey, do you have a reference for whatever article? and I've been having to scramble to find it sometimes. And so I started implementing more of this, like more documentation on what I found. So in here, I'll go WordPress Composer. Oh, there's another article in here. WordPress Composer Easier Development, storing WordPress. I got this article as well, Matthew Daly. Oh, that's environment variables. So that's not quite what I'm looking at. So let's say the article is using Composer with WordPress. And the date is, I'm going to go 11/11 for my Zettelcast and prefix 2020 0651, and we'll enter to start this. And so all of my articles will actually link back to this as a main note, main holding note for Nexus article on using Composer with WordPress. Oh, that works now. That's interesting. Oh, okay, it doesn't work. So my one fill-in snippet worked because it's coming out of Alfred right here, which does snippets. And the BZ didn't work because it's coming out of built-in Mac OS text snippets, which just don't work. So as I go through this, I'll actually go through each article and I will put a note in here, link, and I'll actually probably do it like a task, right? So if I'm starting with whatever this one here is, Statin Web, I'll create it, WordPress plus Composer equals easier development. And so I do WordPress plus Composer equals easier development. And I give it the title 11/11/06, 11/11. Why can't I see that? 11/11, yep, good, 2020 0652. And I'll leave it undone because I'm not done yet. And then I just copy this. Let's kill the outline for now and split horizontally, open, paste it in, enter to create. And then I will use, this is tot up here because people always ask that, tot, and I'll go zet for my Zettelcast in template. Again, that is in the Mac OS text replacement built-in stuff. And that doesn't work because this is Electron. Electron doesn't use standard NS text fields in macOS. So I use tot just to grab it quick. And no, easier development. Author is there an actual author listed? I like to grab the author just as metadata. No actual author listed, so I won't worry about it. And now I need to copy URL. And then I also want to copy the copy item link. And so that's what that Control Option Command C. So let's do that. Control Option Command C. In my iPad, where I normally do a lot of this research, I actually have a shortcut that builds out this template for me and drops it in the proper spot. So I do not need to do it, but I don't have it here. So WordPress. And so then I would normally say, I really got to change this, notes. Take notes as I'm reading. And then when I'm done that, I'll summarize what's important about this article. So then as I go back through to flesh out my outline, here, I'll actually go through and just kind of check off each one as I go. So if I've done this one, if I've researched it, then I'll go through and check it off, say that's done. And I'll put whatever information that's good out of this in a whole bunch of different spots, right? And I'll link back to it in each instance so that I know where the information came from, just in case I need it, just in case I want to link elsewhere, just so that I have it. That's it, really. That is my basic process for grabbing my research information into DEVONthink and then pulling it over into Obsidian, and then eventually, so out of this, I would export as Markdown and drop it into drafts, and there's an action for that on, where is it? Export Markdown OmniOut. I'm going to spell it right, OmniOutliner. Where did I find that? There's actually maybe this is the one. There's actually a script that I installed from a plugin. I don't think it was that. Maybe it's that. There's actually a script I installed. Yeah, I think it actually is this one, from productive.net. I installed this script into iOS, and I don't think into macOS yet, but I've installed it into iOS so that I can export Markdown directly into drafts, and then I would go through and just write based off the outline. Sometimes the outline means I'm mostly written by the end. It's nice here that I have like a word count even about how many words I have, because I'll need that later. And sometimes I'll write like installation and how to install on various platforms. I might even just write install on Mac OS, and like I'll write in here in the notes how to install on Mac OS, and then how to install on Windows, and how to install on Linux, so that you know. Sometimes it might just be, I might drop all those headings and just write it right in here, and say, you know, here's links to directions on how to install it. We're not going to cover that today, but this is how you install it. Right? And then I might even put in here, like I need an intro. So I might put in here to do intro / transition. I guess spell it right, transition. There you go. Knowing that I need to say from what is composer into the next. And so usually I would actually start here. I might even need an intro here to do introduction. And then really at the end, I need conclusion. So that I just remember to do those things. There will be no headline called conclusion here because I don't need it. But there will be like the to-do note in there. That's really it. If you have any questions, just link them below. Let me know. I'll try to answer the questions about my workflow. If you liked the video, you can give me a thumbs up. If you loved it, you go to subscribe and hit the bell. And YouTube might actually let you know when something happens, but who knows if they will. Otherwise, you can support the channel by going to patreon.com/CurtisMcHale and support the channel, or you can go to curtismchale.ca/Skillshare. Take my course on TickTick, watch my upcoming courses on time blocking and things 3. Have an excellent day.